Today we are doing something a bit different. Rather than introducing you to ThinkChem via a promotional advert of sorts, today we thought it would be best to have a proper one-on-one discussion. Now, if there's anybody out there who wants to enroll for ThinkChem, this is your one and only chance to get to know the person behind the class. Not just about his qualifications, but also what motivates him. Basically, how it all began. He's also a doctor in the making, and he's also a personal machang of mine. Please welcome Sithira, Harischandra.
I'm glad to be here, Shanaka. Thank you for the invite.
So, to start off, I know this is a question that has been used over and over again. So, tell us how it all began. For someone who doesn't even know you currently, who is Sithira Harischandra?
Oh, what a question to start with.
Yeah.
I see. Well, how am I going to answer that? Yeah. I'll just say, I'm just a guy who doesn't know when to quit, okay?
Oh, that's a good trait.
Yeah. And, I would say my stubbornness and perseverance got me to where I am today. So, that is a brief summary of who I am as a person. I am very stubborn. In all aspects, of course.
Talk about making something positive over a negative, no? So, teaching is no easy deal.
Mm-hmm.
Like I mentioned before during our introduction, you're a doctor in the making. What made you, what's the light bulb that went off your head and you were like, no, I want to teach? When did that begin?
Yeah. So, as long as I can remember, I always wanted to, go to medicine and, be a doctor, and maybe there was always on my mind, I wanted to help people around, right? So, recently, with my recent experiences on being in the wards and, being an active doctor, what I notice is, I get more pleasure out of, making somebody understand that they have a hard time understanding, right? So even in university, I've been known to do kuppies and stuff, if you know what they are, right? So they are like seminars and stuff you hold for your juniors and everyone. So when I started those, I realized time goes so much faster than, I noticed. ඒගොල්ලන්ට එහෙම නැතුව ඇති maybe ඒගොල්ලෝ පැය ගාණක් ඉඳන් ගෙදර යන්න කීයටද කියලා බලන් ඇති, but for me the few hours that we spent there, me doing the sessions and all that, ගියා මෙහෙම. So that was when I knew, what, man, this is fun.
That's your calling.
Yeah, exactly, bro.
Someone dialed the magic number and was like, yeah, this is what I was meant to do, right?
Yeah, it was a totally random occurrence. But I realized that's what gave me joy in life, right? True, genuine happiness to it's in a way, it's very nice to see somebody දෙයක් තේරුම් ගත්තන් පස්සේ එකපාරට there's that genuine smile that you get out of them. That's what I live for, man. Yeah.
Right. So we're going to go back to the past a bit.
Mm-hmm.
We've gone through A-levels. You've gone through A-levels specifically, right? I guess the question that I could ask you, since we are getting down in this teaching field, what's the common mistakes that students do during their A-levels? And what can you do to avoid them?
Yeah, what I've noticed, and, maybe I should go over something of my own personal mistakes as well, right? So, one of the main mistakes I see for, especially let's talk about chemistry, right, is the widespread by-hearting of the subject. Because, true, there is theory in chemistry, that is true. But just because the subject is full of theory doesn't mean that you specifically need to by-heart it, right? Because that subject can be enjoyed. Because through logical understanding of the material, when you have that understanding where all the puzzle pieces fit together, the genuine aha moment, right? You must have had it too, right? So,
definitely.
Those moments are what chemistry is all about. It's a science, right?
Eureka!
Yeah, exactly, man. Yeah. All the scientists of the past have gone through that entire process. They genuinely do enjoy what they do, right? It can be the same when you're learning about the subject as well. Because I've like, this is my 7th year as a teacher, and what I've noticed is like, a lot of kids, especially my kids, have like, oh my god, is this that easy to understand? Like those we'll say like Sri Lankan Eureka moments.
Sri Lankan Eureka moments. And by the way, when you said your kids, you're not married, right?
Nah, bro.
Students.
Yeah.
I mean, to go back, so like you're doing a doctorate and you're training to be a doctor. So why not medical science or medicine in particular? But why chemistry? I know it's something that leads to that. But why chemistry in particular? Was it your favorite subject when you were in school? Or
Fun fact, dude. Right? So I do, you won't believe this, but I used to hate chemistry as a subject.
You used to hate chemistry?
Exactly, right? So like up until the last year, like, I did my A-levels in 2019. And up until the last year, I like didn't have proper guidance on the subject, and I was just going with the flow, right? And nothing made sense. So like, I know what it feels like to go through this and not get a single point or whatever, or whoever it is teaching, right? And so I had an F, varied from like 20 marks to 30 marks every term test, right up until the A-level exam. So, and then I met a certain teacher who actually, in a way changed my life. I'm here because of them. And they managed to guide me through like the proper process of how you, face this subject. And yeah, even I'm right now, when I think about it, I'm baffled. Like, I'm here right now because hitapu idiyata hitala baluwod, Jesus, man. So yeah, so what I did was like, how I was guided on it was like, this philosophy I'm trying to convey to the world right now. Like, katapadam karanna epa. You don't need to buy hard the subject.
Is that a mistake that you would say that kids are doing nowadays with chemistry?
Exactly. It's like a widespread thing that I keep seeing, like, especially from the theoretical aspects of the subject. Like, there are two, right? So you have the summary, some part, like you have to like, do mathematical. It's more heavily lean towards mathematics, right? And the other part, the where is lean more towards theory. So like, a lot of kids try to buy heart it and end up failing miserably, sadly. Like, it doesn't have to be that way.
Right. What does it have to be then?
Yeah. So I don't think I can, like portray it here right now. But for example, let's say, there was a reaction like, you added a piece of sodium to water, right? So you would ideally buy a heart, like, you get sodium hydroxide and hydrogen as a gas. But
a lot of science babble here, folks. Okay.
Yeah. And like, that's all you'd get when you like, usually what you hear from a teacher, like from a usual generic teacher, what you hear is that, and they expect you to by heart it and memorize it. But what I personally do, and what I personally did when I was learning, and I'm trying to portray it, right? So what I'm trying to do is like show them the internal mechanics of how that reaction works and what leads to those specific products. So once you understand the underlying mechanism behind the reactions, it becomes much easier to like, you can even like make educated guesses if you don't know the specific answer.
Yeah, I mean, it makes it more interesting too, right?
I know, right?
I guess it's one of those subjects that it doesn't have to be theory all the time.
Yeah.
Because you talking about it just took me back to the past where a science teacher would take us to the lab and be like, oh, this is what happens when you put this. And we're like, oh, like, yeah. I mean, I guess that's what makes it interesting. And you said something very important as well. Before you started this on your own, and on the progression of doing this, you said there were a lot of teachers who motivated you.
Yes.
Right? What was the biggest motivating factor from them? What did they teach you?
Yeah, so as I already mentioned, that I was pretty bad on the subject up until the last year, right? So I was very desperate by then, And yeah, it was a pretty tough time, I was confused. I didn't know what to do. I had no one to guide me. And there was this one senior, he was studying 1 year above me. And he said, Malli, try consulting this sir and go talk to him. And that I did on the first day. And he was also a single medium teacher as well. Even though I did study English medium, right? And yeah, what I asked was, sir, මට මේක කරගන්න පුළුවන් වෙයිද? තාම මාස 6යි තියෙන්නේ. And
6 months into A levels.
6 months for the exams.
So, yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah. Right? And මං අසරණ වෙලා ඉන්නේ. මට මේක කරගන්න පුළුවන් වේද කියලා තමයි second. And I still remember that day, he, මුණ දිහා බැලුවා, මේමයි දරුවෝ මේ ලෝකේ කරන්න බෑ කියලා දෙයක් නෑ. ඔයාට හිතේ හයිය තියෙනවා නම්, if you have the knack and the ambition, it's more than possible. ඔයා දැන් හිතේ හයිය හදාගෙන මෙතන ඉඳන් මහන්සි වෙන්න කියලා කිව්වා. And I did not know at that point, like some sort of fire started to burn inside me. Like මේ මනුස්සයා ඒ දේ කියන්නේ, he must see something, right? He must see something I don't see, maybe some potential. Who knows, right? The only way to figure that out is I gotta try. So that I did. What I did was, did a lot of papers and stuff. I started, kept on consulting him, going back to him, so am I improving and all that. So that's the point I think that affected most for my career.
So basically, you would agree that behind your success, there was a good teacher. Shout out to whoever that sir was. We won't have a...
Yeah, I'm very grateful, yes.
Sithira right here. I always mix up your name with your brother. Sithira right here.
Yeah, my brother's name is Sithira, so very understandable.
Understandable. I think we had a small chat on this before the camera started rolling, right? I was asking you, being a teacher, even though you're good at a subject, I think personally being a teacher is much more than that, right? Being a teacher carries a bigger role than that. You need to be a very inspiring character for that kid. That sir was to you. You were at the end of your rope, but because of his wise words and his understanding and the fact that he chose you, he believed in you in some sort of way. What's the one thing that you could give to a kid who comes to your class and that he can take from it?
Good question. Well, I personally think belief is the one thing that a kid needs in order for him to grow as a person, right? Because there are many kids that come to my classes, some kids, have, familial problems, and some kids are isolated as well. So as a teacher, much rather than, just conveying the educational content, I think it matters to be a pillar of strength as well, and a beacon of hope. Somebody that they can rely on to show them the way, the right way.
Right. If one of those said kids who gets motivated by your teachings someday chooses a profession to be a teacher or a professor like yourself, what would your expectation be for him to learn besides chemistry?
In the current state of the country, there's a huge diversity among jobs and stuff, right? So there's a lot of aspects that go behind a job, social reputation matters a lot as well, right? So පොඩි කාලේ ඉඳන් මම්මලා තාත්තලා කියන්නේ මොකද්ද? දොස්තර කෙනෙක් වෙන්න නේ, engineer කෙනෙක් වෙන්න, accountant කෙනෙක් වෙන්න. No matter what field you go to, I personally think that doing your best matters the most, of course, and it matters a lot that you enjoy what you do as well.
I think that applies to everything.
Yeah.
It kind of got me thinking, how did the name ThinkChem come to be?
Yeah. So in a way, summarizing it up, right?
Okay.
So it's anti-Katapadang Kim. So
Okay.
anti-Katapadang Kim is, of course, ThinkChem, right? So that's why I wanted to portray through my own teachings as well. So, Katapadang Ganipa, Lamai, there's a better alternative that you can do. Make a mataka තියාගත්තනම් හොඳටම ඇති කියන එක තමයි. That's what I always try to portray. අර කටපාඩම් කරන්නම තියෙන දේවල්ුත් තියෙනවා, right? Those are simple stuff, but not necessarily everything. So that's what I'm trying to do, think about chemistry. That's how the brand was born.
I mean, man, so far I think your classes are one of a kind. I mean, sure, we didn't dive down to what the methods are really, but if I got to ask, like years from now, when your class is a success, and that's how it often happens, what do you want people to know or feel when they hear the word ThinkChem?
I want them to feel inspired, man.
Okay.
Like, අවුලන්නේ there's like a goated teacher, right? So, මට chemistry ගැන බය වෙන්න දෙයක් නැහැ. That's what I actually wanted to, ඒ branding ගන්න ඕනේ දේ ළමයින්ට. Because, අපි වෙනසක් කරමු, right? Because chemistry අමාරු වෙච්ච කාලෙට තිතක් තියමු.
That's a good one. Are you trademarking that?
You know what? I will.
Starting now. So, I mean, go check out the ThinkChem page on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. One thing that really caught my attention was one of your sneak peek trailers for your institute.
Yeah.
Like, there was a comparison between what actually classes are and how you do it. Because, come on, remember those days we used to go to school, 8 a.m., we learn about science, physics,
man.
the chemistry, the... ළමයි දන්නවද උදේ 8 අමාරේ ළමයි දන්නවද ප්‍රභා සංශ්ලේෂණ කියන්නේ මොකක්ද කියලා. I'm like, I couldn't care less.
Since this is the second time you mentioned that, Bachak, I think you've been properly traumatized by it.
Oh, yeah. Traumatized for 11 years straight. Anyways, that's a different argument. When I saw these comparisons on how you teach, I think that's what matters.
Yeah.
For me personally, I think not to degrade anyone of their profession, but I feel like there are teachers and then there are teachers.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean?
That's what I'm inspiring to be,
Yeah.
Like, teachers are supposed to be the kind of people that, that gets you excited to learn, right? නැත්තම් මේ අප්පා ඔන්න එනවා ගානකොට ඉතින් you don't feel like it, right? එපා වෙනවා like මුළු දවසම ඉවරයි. උදේ පාන්දර පටන් ගත්ත ගමන් ආයෙ ඇවිල්ලා ඉතින් as you said හොඳ ගැඹුරු වචනයක් කියනවා and yeah, එතනින් පස්සේ දවසම ඉවරයිනේ. I used to still remember මං බිත්තියට හේතුව ෂිප් එක නිදාගත්ත ඕන තරම් දන ගහලා නම් ඇති අදටත්.
I mean, that's what matters.
අනෙක then personally what I do in my classes is, right, like traditionally how teaching goes is like, there's like a big figure called a teacher and the secondary wise there's a student, right? So like the student isn't supposed to like question what the teacher says. Yeah. And teacher කියන දේ is the rule. Him like strict vela, like under they demand respect and all that. Right? I'm not criticizing the method, but personally for me, if it was like, I still remember back in my school days as well, right? So if a teacher doesn't win over my respect, මට හිතෙනවා I think, why should I listen to him? So that's what I, cater to in my classes. Like, මම ඒ අරේ තියෙන like that differentiation there is like the division of power hierarchy, right? So ඒක නැති කරලා තියෙනවා. I am the teacher, that is true. I am educated more than my listening audience, that is true. But මං කරන්න හදන like මට බය වෙලා ඉගෙන ගන්නවට වඩා දෙයක්, I would want them to learn it in a more fun way, right? Then මමත් ඉතින් then let's say I'm Gen Z too, right? So එතකොට අපිත් ඊගොේ re-scroll කරලා තියෙනවා. So we know what the children like usually like references කියන, right? References තියෙනවා like there's movie references and all that. So I use those as a method of teaching ළමයින්ට. ඒතකොට ගොඩක් වෙලාට දැන් ඒගොල්ලන්ට හිතමු දැන් බැට්මෑන් ඉන්න we've seen the Christian Bale trilogies, right? So ඒ වගේ අපිට එකකින් ඇවිල්ලා we can actually derive a lot and connect that to the theory in chemistry as well.
Reverse psychology.
Yeah, you could say that. Yeah, you could say that. Yeah. And එහෙම කරාම පස්සේ what I noticed is like ළමයින්ට අහන් ඉන්න අමාරුත් නෑ. And it motivates them further to like, they have a good laugh. Matat fun, mama thira. And yeah, that's how usually my classes go. And I've personally never had a student leave once they come into my classes.
I mean, that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that sentence alone describes on how your classes are. And it seems that you've mastered to make teaching fun.
Yeah, that's actually what I'm aspiring.
Anyone would agree. Chemistry is not gonna lie a pain in the ass. and you made that pain in the ass fun.
I'm trying to do, yeah. That's what I'm trying to do. Because, anybody here, like, watches anime? I'm a major anime fan, yeah. So
I can't say likewise.
Said never.
Yeah.
Right. So, if anybody's watched Jujutsu Kaisen and the students in my class know that how the amount of references I portray towards those, we are the sole exception, right? So, ඒ වගේ ඉතින් ආයෙ ළමයි ටික පිටින් hina වෙනවා ඊට පස්සේ. අන්න ඒකයි මගේ පන්ති තියෙනවා නම් anime බලන්න ඕනේ.
Is that a rule?
I mean, if you don't want to feel left out,
God bless you. Anyways, more into a bit of a serious topic. Tuition classes. It is something, it's everywhere.
Yeah, it's sort of like a mafia, right?
Maharagama yanna,
Yeah.
Nugegoda yanna, God pannipita yanna. Like there are bus bench ads, TV adverts, billboards. මේ ප්‍රනාන්දුද දිනෙත්ද area ranking the I guess what makes your class so special apart from the methods, apart from making teaching fun, making a subject that's so dull fun, apart from that, why should a kid or a student choose your chemistry class? Why can't he just go to Hemanth's down the street?
Oh my God, bro. Right. So, yeah, getting back to the topic hand. So, what I would say is, I am not afraid to try new things. So, I apply that in my teaching as well. Right. So, the times are changing fast. Like, it wasn't back when I was learning. Then, meka maha loku kalayan neveyi. I'm a pretty young teacher. Right. So, then 2019 ඉඳන් අද වෙනකොට ගත්තොත් dude, right? සෑහෙන වෙනස් වෙලා, right? Like, I still remember දැන් මං ඇවිල්ලා පාඩම් කරනකොට ඒ කාලේ පොත් ටික බදාගෙන like අප්පා එපා වුණා, right? But do kids these days study like that? No. There's AI everywhere, right? AI වලින් තමයි සෑහෙන පාවිච්චි කරන්නේ. දැන් notebook LM කියලා app එකක් ඇති, Claude කියලා ඇති, ChatGPT is there. So like what kids do is, ඒකට දාලා යාගෙන් කෙලින්ම උත්තරය අහන්න බලනවා. Because then, teachers might take an initiative to like, stop that, right? මං personally හිතන දේ controversially ඒක අපි නවත්තන්න ඕනේ නැහැ. Because the times are changing, man. We have to change with the times. That's what makes a good teacher. Then, ළමෙක්ට ඒ වගේ දෙයක් තියෙනවා because it's a tool, right? That makes their experience easier. දැන් අපි කහපු කට්ට අපේ කාලේ technology එක තිබ්බේ නැහැ කියලා we shouldn't like make the students abide by the same rules. Because the times are changing, technology is changing, tools are changing, learning becomes easier step by step. So what I do in my classes is I encourage the use of AI. Like even right now, I'm building my own learning management system and I'm incorporating multitudes of AI into it as well, and backed up by learning science and all that. Right? So what makes my classes different is like, I don't shy away from using technology to my own advantage. I would personally like to say, I'm not saying I'm the only one, but I would personally like to say that, I'm locked in with the times.
Back to the AI question. There is a good side and a bad side of it also. To give you a personal example of mine, there was a kid in my university who could barely speak a lick of English. Not degrading that said kid. Just giving you a prime example of what's the bad and the good of AI. Pora exams pass suna.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I could see right through because high distinction for everything because of course university syllabus is done in English.
Yeah.
No way gives it in Sinhala. For chemistry, there might be some multitudes of it that you can use AI for. Let's say creative presentations or information for that said lesson or whatever. What are the steps that you're going to take if you spot one of your kids using AI
To cheat on an exam?
Yeah.
Good
Not an
question,
exam
man.
per se, not only an exam, like I feel like in situations like that, your classes are not giving him what it's meant to be given if he's using AI.
Mm-hmm. Could you help me understand the question a bit better?
Okay. Imagine me.
Mm-hmm.
It's very simple. I suck at chemistry. And you are a...
මං හිටියේ නෑ මේක.
Good selling point. I'm a kid who sucks at chemistry, and for some reason, I'm lagging a bit behind. I guess I can ask this question in two ways as well. What are the steps that you take to improve the kids, I guess, to keep up with your pace? That's one.
Mm-hmm.
And since you're a person who is welcoming AI, and like I said, AI could be used for the good and the bad.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm a kid who harps on AI to get through your tests that you give away, exams you might possibly be giving, what are the steps you're going to take for that?
Yeah, so it's like this, right? So there are two types of exams that in my course there is. So එකක් තමයි like kids get to do the papers physically on site at whatever institution I'm teaching at, right? අනිත් එක තමයි like අර website එක හරහා පුළුවන් online විදිහට paper එක කරන්නත් පුළුවන්, right? එතකොට like physically there are strict rules that the students have to abide by, like their rules කියන දේ නැතුවමත් බෑනේ තියෙන්නත් ඕන, right? So අනිවාර්යෙන් paper එක කරන වෙලාවක ඇවිල්ලා they aren't allowed to use their phones. So අනිවාර්යෙන් paper එක කරනකොට you have to like put on output to the paper what you already know. නැත්නම් දන්නේ නැති දේවල් වැඩක් නැහැ. දැන් අපේ A level exam එකේ ගිහිල්ලත් paper phone පාවිච්චි කරන්න වෙන්නේ නැහැ. There is no digital devices that you can rely on, right? So ඒක නිසා අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම paper එක කරන වෙලාවට I expect my students to respect the rules and ඒ පැය 3ක් හෝ 2ක MCQ නම් පැය 2යි essay එකක් නම් පැය 3යි, right? ඒ වෙලාවේ ඇවිල්ලා අනිවාර්යෙන් you have to be disciplined. ඒ වෙලාවේ විතරක් you just keep the phones away. That's the rule that we usually go. එහෙම කියලා ඉතින් අර එහෙම මට personally නම් මගේ class එක තාම මේ rule එක කඩපුලම් මේක හම්බෙලා නැහැ.
කැඩුණා දනගස්සනවා.
ටොක්කක් කනලා පොඩ්ඩක් එළියට දානවා ඉන්න තියෙනවා. But hopefully you won't get there, right?
Okay. Right.
And if you go for the online part, right? So ඒකට මම adapt කරලා තියෙන්නේ දැන් ගෙදරින් ළමයා AI search කරන එක ඇත්තටම අපිට නවත්තන්න බෑනේ, right? So it's irrelevant of like ඒක වෙන වෙබ්සයිට් එකක් හින්දා අපේ වෙබ්සයිට් එක හරහා ගියට ඒක search කරන එක අපිට නවත්තන්න ටිකක් අමාරුයි. So there's two things that we are incorporating into our online exams. එකක් තමයි ඒ ස්ටුඩන්ට් ඒ ටැබ් එකෙන් එළියට ගියොත් චෙක් වෙනවා. එතකොට හොරගෙඩිය වැඩ කරන්න බෑනේ. එතකොට මොකද්ද කරන්නේ? කට්ටිය ටික ඇවිල්ලා මේ ෆෝන් එකෙන් සර්ච් කරනවා. එතකොට ටැබ් එකේ එහෙම තිබ්බා ෆෝන් එකෙන් සර්ච් කරා, right? So ඒකටත් කරන්න තියෙන දෙයක් තමයි we reduce the time. Like ඒකේ question එකක් screen එකේ පෙන්නන වෙලාව there's a definite amount, right? You can't control like going forward and going back. Again, වෙලාව තියෙන විදිහ අනුව යන්න පුළුවන්, but for each specific question there's only a certain strict time. ඔයා search කරලා උත්තර ටික හොයලා ඒ ටික කියවනකොට අර වෙලාව ගිහිල්ලා. So you will miss your marks. ඒකයි. It's much faster studying at home before the exam.
Okay, I think thank you for clarifying my question. And the other part of the question went on unanswered. Like, how would you deal with a student who is lagging behind?
Yeah, so එතනදී you should to make sure that the kid is interacted with kindness. එයාට විශේෂයෙන් එයාට strict වෙලා බැනලා කරලා නම් බෑ. You have to get to the root cause. ඇයි ඒ ළමයා එතෙන්ට වැටුනේ, right? So like I would personally if I was in the situation, I would personally have a direct one-on-one chat with him, and try to figure out his background, family history and all that, and try to figure out the root issue. Like it could be a student, who's doing a lot of extracurricular activities. So he has limited time to, convey to his own studies. And there could be another student who's maybe going through, some sort of mental, struggles, right? Like there's a lot of unseen things that people are going through. It's up to us to figure those out. And I would like to highlight that as another responsibility of a good teacher. Like it's not just about conveying the educational content, right? This is like you have to be somebody that's really good at reading between the lines. So, and then like once we sorted out what the main issue for that student is, let's take an example as a student that's going through a lot of extracurricular activities and such, right? So he won't have much time to පාඩම් කරන්න, specifically ඉඳගෙන පාඩම් කරන්න කියලා. So what I would do is like make ඒකට වෙනම programs වගේ අපිට හදන්න පුළුවන් that would allow him to study on the go. Like දැන් අපේ website එකේ තමයි incorporate කරන දෙයක් තමයි like quiz battles කියලා එහෙම තියෙනවා. Quiz programs, quiz අර එයාට live බස් එකේ හරි කොහේ හරි යන ගමන් he can ටක් ගාලා ෆෝන් එකේ ගත්තා ඔබාගෙන උත්තර ටික යන්න පුළුවන්. Like there's like revision sets, question sets for each lesson. ලස්සනට වැඩේ කරන් යන්න පුළුවන් නේ. So and of course we would need to get their feedback again as well. It's not that a one and done එකක් නෙමෙයි. ඒතර හැමතිස්සෙම ඒගොල්ලන්ගෙන් අහගෙන we have to maintain contact with the students and get their feedback. That's how we improve, right? ඒතර අපිටත් අපේ පැත්තෙන් දෙන service එක සෑහෙන වැඩි වෙන්න පුළුවන්.
Right. That's a very in-depth answer. I was not ready for that.
Hey, I believe it, man.
Okay. So here's a bit of a mampodi reverse psychology පාරක් දානවා මෙතන.
Okay.
If you were an A-level student, why would you go for ThinkChem?
I mean, why not?
That's the easiest way to go about it.
Right. Maybe. Mama, I'm personally think like going back to my old days as an A-level kid. කටපාඩම් කරනවා දැක්ක ගමන් I run, right?
All right. Okay.
මට මතකයි even during my grade පොඩි කාලේ මතක ඇති ඇවිල්ලා මේ බුද්ධාගම exam එකට එහෙම තියෙනකොට කටපාඩම් ගන්නවානේ කවි ගාථා ටික පාඩම් කරනවාද and මොනවද ඒ වගේ තියෙනකොට මට පේන්න බෑ. I always get punished for those. මතක හිටින්නේ නෑ dude, right? What to do? Like what?
Oh, you think I opened your books now, Machan. H2O තියෙනවා, කෑලි හැලි බැලි ඉරකුත් තියෙනවා බං මචං chemistry වල. මොකක්ද?
Oh my god. But you were not supposed to open that. ඉතින් මේ like yeah, what I figure was like අර දෙයක් ඉගෙන ගන්න හේතුවක් නැතුව ඉගෙනගෙන වැඩක් නැහැ. Like දෙයක් ඕනේ දෙයක් ඉගෙන ගන්න there should be a reason for it. Like why do we learn this? And where is this applied in real world application? So ඒ දෙක establish වෙනකන් ඉතින් මට set නැහැ. So ඒ ටිකට කේප්චර් කරන විදිහට තමයි මම දැන් මම මේ විදිහට දැන් මගේ brand එකේ හරහා මම උගන්වන්නේ අන්නේ ඒක, right? So that's how I usually teach in my class. Like I always portray why we learn this certain theory fact. ඉතින් that's ඉතින් ඒ ළමයට දැන් අපි මේක ඉගෙන ගන්න එකේ හේතු සාධකයක් දුන්නම් පස්සේ of course they will remember it. Like දැන් හිතන්නකෝ උදාහරණයක්, right? So chemistry දන්න කට්ටිය දන්නවා ඇති. Like අපිට කෑම උයා ගන්න වෙලාව මදි උදේ පාන්දර. That's a very common situation, right? එතකොට in the past එක මනුස්සයෙක්ට එක සයින්ටිස්ට් කෙනෙක්ට ඉතින් හිතෙන්නදී my god this takes a damn long time. Is there any way I could like මේක ඉක්මන් කරගන්න විදිහක් තියනවාද කියලා, right? That led to the invention of pressure cookers. Since like if you all know gas laws, pressure එක වැඩි වෙනකොට temperature මොකද rate maximum අපිට liquid එකක් ඇවිල්ලා liquid එකක් හැටියට තියාගන්න පුළුවන් temperature limit එක වැඩි වෙනවා pressure එක වැඩි වෙනකොට, right? So ඒක නිසා මොකද temperature එක වැඩි වෙනකොට rate of reactions increase. එතකොට කෑම ඉවින speed එක වැඩි වෙනවා, right? So that's what I always try to portray. එතකොට ඒ වගේ class එකකට යන්න ආසාව තිබ්බ එක තමයි since I didn't get that much exposure for my needs back when I was a kid. That's what I'm trying to, I'm trying to, guide the kids to like a treasure I could not possess back in the day again.
Right. Okay. Hari, I'll give you a question that you need to think on your feet.
Okay.
Convince me in 30 seconds. Time in 30
I
seconds.
don't know, but
Convince me in 30 seconds
Okay.
on why
okay.
I should choose ThinkChem.
Okay. Do you like to have fun?
Timing start kara. Okay, Ari, start. Okay, what was the question?
Yeah. Do you like to have fun?
Okay,
Do you like to, learn?
shape again.
Shape.
Okay.
Then do you want to make learning fun?
Yes.
Do you want to laugh your ass off?
අවුලන්න
Yeah. එහෙනම් ඉතින් තවමනක් there you go 10 seconds.
කියා කියද? Oh shit.
හරි 15.
Am I that easy to convince? Damn,
කමන්න. හරිනේ.
Okay. Hari, 15 seconds, not bad. Hari, I'm not one of your students. ඉතින් බලන්නකො මම convince කරයිද කියලා මින් තප්පර 30කින්. Okay. So again, a very serious question.
Yeah, okay.
What is something that your students can hold you accountable for in the future? A sort of promise that you can give them.
Well, a common claim that a lot of teachers do is වඩ අනිවාර්යෙන් ඒකක් අරන් දෙනවා. Right? But I don't think that's practical because මගේ පැත්තෙන් මං 100%ක් 200ක් දුන්නත් ළමයා ඒ වෙදේ වෙනුවෙන් වැඩ කරේ නැත්තම් there's not much that he can get out of it, right?
And that kind of limits your capabilities also. There's so much you can do.
Yeah. So what I'll target on it is, I'll promise that I'll inspire you and I'll show you that it doesn't have to be a pain. The process is very enjoyable. I'll definitely promise that I can show you that and maybe take some, pressure off your shoulders for this exam. දන්නවනේ ඉතින් අම්මලා තාත්තලා බැලුවොත් කණේමනේ ඉන්නේ නේ බා. Right? So yeah, that's the best I'll be able to offer, but that's not all. Stay tuned, yeah.
Wow. Okay. Since I have you at it, right? If your class was a movie title, what would it be?
Okay, interesting question, man. Well, let's see. It should be something along the lines of, a whimsical break from the monotonous life. Something along that, I'm
My
not the
God.
greatest at coming up with names, but,
I mean, you came up with ThinkChem.
but yeah, that's true. But true.
It sounds more like a book title, though. I mean, I would read it.
I mean, you should. Written by me, of course.
Damn. Okay. Okay. Now, steering back to the competition topic, right? Like I said, okay, I've asked you questions. What makes your class unique from the others? You said you make teaching fun. You make, sorry, no offense, but such a dull subject as chemistry fun. It's also cool because teachers are already doing it out
Yeah.
there. For example, මතකයි O-level seminar එකට there was a single teacher, external, who came to do a seminar for us before O-levels. And the guy's whole thing was theatrics.
Really? Okay.
So there are teachers out there who bring in unique stuff, which resonates with kids, right? So, like I said, what would your message be to the kids out there? Why you?
Rather than me just, putting it into perspective, let's just go through an example of how I would teach a specific theory concept, right? So,
If I would say,
Yeah.
let's dive down to a method briefly.
yeah, sure, okay.
Okay.
All right, so there's this concept in chemistry called the enthalpy of bond dissociation. If my kids are watching, you all know what I'm talking about, right? So the resource book says that, the external amount of energy that you need to supply in order for you to break a bond in a molecule, there's yada, yada, yada. There's a lot of stuff regarding that, right? So how I would teach that is, this may be considered a bit controversial.
Ammarsiri. Cancel වෙයිද දන්නේ නැවි. හරි යන්න.
Yeah. But, what do you do when you see a very happy couple in the park?
හූ තියනවා.
හූ තියලා මදි නේද?
තව මොනවද කරන්නේ?
කල් ගහනවානේ.
අප්පට.
So yeah, how this is an analogy I use. So like when you see a happy couple, you gotta be like, I don't know, happy couple. I'm the only one that can be happy. මට නැත්තම් කාටවත් නෑ, right?
Toxic අඩු red flags වගේ බම.
I swear I'm a green flag, okay? So like, yeah, how do this relate with the theory concept that I've aforementioned? So enthalpy of dissociation is the energy that you need to, supply in order to break a bond. So this bond is analogous to this happy couple you see at the park, right? And this rock that you're going to throw is analogous to the energy that you'll be giving, the external energy that you'll be giving to the relevant bond, right? So when you throw a rock, obviously they would want to get out of the way, right? නිකම් බලන් ඉන්නේ නේ බංකල් පාරක් වදින ගන්නේ. So they they would move away. So these two people would move away. These two atoms would be moving away. So when you give external energy, these two atoms bonds get dissected. So that means bond dissociation enthalpy in order for you to break a bond, you must give energy externally. I mean, after hearing that, won't you remember that?
Definitely. Wow. Okay. Molecules. Cool. I mean, we've been talking about how your classes go on. I think your classes are starting soon for the 2028 batch.
Yeah, exactly. Good that you mentioned it, dude. Because, for any, aspiring, learners, chemists, medicine students, if you want to be a really good doctor or a, engineer, my classes for the 2028 batch, I think they finished their O-levels like a few months ago, will be starting like in less than 2 weeks at SIAC Institute Nugegoda, if you all are interested.
They will definitely be interested out watching this.
Yeah, hopefully, yeah.
I mean, like I said at the start of this video, you're more than this, more than a chemistry teacher. You're a soon and up and coming doctor as well. Tell us a bit about that, because manam patta very interested. Oglan කොහොමද ඔච්චර බෙහෙත් මතක තියාගන්න කියලා.
Oh yeah.
Patients come into your clinics every day. මෙතන රිදෙනවා, අතන රිදෙනවා. අඩ මේක දෙන්න ඕනේ. How does that work?
මේම ශරුක. Chemistry පාඩක් කළා, I mean, there's a lot of fields you can go to. You don't have to be necessarily restricted to one field, right? Because, like chemistry is everywhere, right? So, සෑහෙන jobs වලට ඒක apply වෙනවා.
You know the old saying, right? For anything needs chemistry. For a relationship, you need chemistry.
Bingo, dude. Yeah. Because, fun fact, I use a lot of very relatable examples, as I mentioned. So, බහුතරයක්ම me, relationships ගැන පොඩ්ඩක් වැඩිපුර කතා වෙනවා examples වල. So අපේ ඉතින් ළමයි කොහොමද ඔවා ඉත අලුත් දේවල් නෙවෙයිනේ අපේ ළමයින්ට, very relatable examples, so I would say.
Very much. If you start talking about relationships, this podcast will go on. Anyways,
let's not get into that, right?
Yeah. Was your passion to be a doctor?
Yeah, you could say that, yeah. Because I've always wanted to help people since I was a kid, right? And at the same time, I made a promise to somebody who was special to me that I will, keep the promise that I will make you. Man doctor kenek wennan kiyala. And, I gave it my all. Like I පාඩම් කළා කොහොමාරි ඉතින්, throughout all the ups and downs. කොහොමාරි I guess. Yeah, මටත් sure නෑ.
And whoever that person is must be proud of you immensely because of that.
Hopefully, yes, yeah.
So we talked about everything so far, what your class stands for, what you stand for. I think people people who already know you, people who are most probably, hopefully, going to meet you, know who you are. Is there one message that you could give to the kids out there? What would it be?
If I were to say, no matter what may happen to you, no matter what the perilous trials that you have to go through, no matter what the cards that you're dealt with, what matters is you getting back up, because it's all right to stay down, but time won't wait for you to grieve, right? What matters is you always need to get back up and keep moving forward, right? And in order for you all to get to a better place, I'm willing to help you all out, You could always try, visiting my classes. Try joining them. The first day is always free. You can always try, whether I'm a suitable teacher for you all, whether I suit your taste, your type of teaching. And yeah, go get it. Go get your life done, dudes.
Damn. That was heartfelt. So I guess this entire conversation is for a wrap up right now. As we discussed, papers, marks, achievements, they all matter, but so does the teacher. And I hope this entire conversation makes your decision in order to pick the next chemistry class a bit more easier. So look out for your next intake and registrations. Head to ThinkChem as soon as possible. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, Shanuka.
You too.